All right, welcome back to week 27 of my journey to Ironman California 2023. All right, so it is Monday, May 8th, and I am a week removed from the marathon, Rosa's big marathon. And April 22nd was the 6-month mark where I'm 6 months away from the big race, the Ironman race. So this video, week 27, is the midway point. This is the last of the series of my journey to Ironman. The next series will be training camp, countdown to Ironman. So now we're gonna work our way down versus working our way up. So, kind of like a pyramid. We're working up, and now we're working down the other end. And I'm gonna give you my feelings, my thoughts on the marathon, and I also want to give you my feelings and thoughts on the last 26 weeks leading up to this point, and just where I'm at mentally, where I'm at physically, and just go from there. So the first thing, Rosa's marathon. I had an amazing time running that marathon with Rosa, seeing and watching her overcome the physical challenges, the mental challenges. As a coach, watching their athlete perform is it's hard to describe. And there's a feeling inside that makes you're so proud of them. It's like, I guess, watching like a baby walk for the first time. You're so proud of them. As she's running, just being in the moment was a great experience, a great time. They say everything happens for a reason. And I think it was meant to miss the bus on the first attempt on the marathon, because this marathon gave everything to Rosa and what Rosa wanted from a marathon. The first marathon, we were late, so there was just no one around. This time, there was tons of spectators. Oh, man. It's funny because, as you're running the course, there's different types of spectators. You have active spectators that are performing something, whether they're in a band, whether they have signs, it's something, whether, they're playing music. Then they have the static, spectators, they're just there, they're cheering you on, no sign, no music, just yelling, and to feel or to see the different types of spectators on your journey to the end, it's uplifting. I remember I was, around coming up to mile 5, and, just the continuous running and all the thinking, everything that's going on. After a while, the miles just become miles. You don't realize where you are until you see a mile marker, and you feel different emotions during the race. Again, this is my perspective. Everyone has different feelings, different experiences. I understand. I'm just giving you my opinion on how I felt or how I feel when I run these races. And when you're in your mind for so long, you think about different things. Sometimes you're in the moment of running, you don't realize you're not even thinking, you're just running. And there's other times where I'm just deep in thought, thinking about whatever. And there's times when you're fatigued, not necessarily physically, but you might be fatigued mentally. Just like, just thinking. And there's times where I was feeling I felt like I was like, dragging my feet. And you would turn a corner and all of a sudden someone's there, playing something, and they're just so excited, cheering you on, that it just pumps you up. Like, it's like it just picks you back up, or picked me back up. And the one that I remember the most was right before mile 5. There was a guy he must have been Cuban, because he spoke his Spanish like a Cuban. The Caribbeans, Spanish-speaking countries speak differently than, let's say, people from Mexico or people from Spain. When I hear it, I understand, he's from the Caribbean, the way he speaks his Spanish. So he must have been Cuban, and he was playing, I think it was salsa. And the emotion on his face, he was so happy. He was like, yeah, and just his energy, it pumped me up. I was like, whoo, I just wanted to sit there and just watch and just absorb more of his energy. But that's not what it's meant for. It's just meant for it to go by it, pick you back up, and boom, go on to the next one. And hopefully the next person does the same thing. But I can just see him in my head right now as I'm telling the story. Oh man, it was so uplifting. So anyways, throughout the whole marathon, there's different entertainers, different spectators. So it was definitely fun to see and to feel the spectators. So I'm glad Rosa got to feel and see that. Aid stations, water stations, extremely important. On the first race, we were so far behind that all the aid stations had closed. So we didn't have any water from the beginning all the way to the end. I mean, we were lucky to get some from other runners, but there was nothing. So now we had that. And what's funny is, as I was talking to Rosa and her experiences, she says, oh man, those aid stations, there's too many, way too many. Every time I approach one, I have to stop, drink my water, and then I got to start back up. So it's funny, we didn't have any before, and now we had too many. So, I didn't think to tell her that you don't stop. You just grab, run, throw it in your face, grab, gobble some if you can get some, but see if you can get 2 handfuls and hopefully get some. But again, it was her experience, and she finally got aid stations, which was great. And last but not least, other runners. Oh man, if you watch the video, you can see the sea of people. I did like a panoramic view where I'm looking forward, I turn to my side, turn behind me, and it's just tons and tons of people. So to see and to feel all those people compared to the last time where there was no one, that was uplifting as well, because you were able to feed off each individual person's energy. There's times where you're passing up someone and you don't think anything of it, you're just passing, and then all of a sudden people are passing you up and you're like, oh man, people are passing me. Like there's just, the energy levels are up and down. So when someone passes you, you think in your head, oh, I can't let this person pass me, and it kind of picks you up to run more, or to run a little faster, or just to pick me up. You're not competing against them, but there's just a little competitiveness inside you where you don't want to feel like you're being left behind. So I guess that's what it is. I don't want to be left behind. I want to be leaving people behind. So that's just kind of what's been going in my head. But to feed off the energy of other runners. So I'm really, really glad that Rosa got to see and to feel all those people, to experience the 3 things that we were missing in the last time, and to finally experience it now for this time. It was a great experience. So I'm super glad and happy that everything that happened the way it happened, because it all worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So yeah, kind of funny the way things work out. So, okay, here's a funny thing. If you watch the last video, at the end of the race, I look at Rosa and I ask her, so what are your thoughts? And she immediately said, no more. Last one. She said that last time, by the way. So I thought, hey, she reached her goal, she's done. And we flew back home Sunday night. The race was Sunday morning. We flew Sunday home, which was awful. Being just ran a race and having to go back to the hotel and to the airport, and it's just the stop and go. When you're resting to go back up, it's tough on the muscles. Anyways, we get home Sunday night, 10 o'clock at night or something, and the next day, on Monday, I believe, she texted me and she asked me if I was interested in running the half marathon in Oakland the next weekend after the race. Like, from Saturday was the race, and she wanted to do another one, the race. She wanted to do another race the week after. Not a full marathon, but she wanted to do a half marathon. And I asked her, are you on drugs? Because I'm over here just recovering, not even thinking about another race. I know mine's for another 6 months. I'm not even thinking about another race, and she's already texting me looking at the Oakland half marathon. And she goes, no, I think it would be beautiful running across the Bay Bridge. So I think we've created a runner. So I don't think this is Rosa's last run. She says it is, but the more and more time that goes on, she's looking and looking. So I think there's definitely not just another run, but another marathon in her future. So I think that's a cool story. All right, so let me tell you about my experience with the marathon. So I was looking at couple of things. I wanted to see, number one, I wanted to do the consumption of energy, carbohydrates, the consumption of sodium, and the consumption of water. So if you haven't watched the last video, before the race, I gave you a plan on how I'm going to attempt to consume each 3 of those items. Now, sodium, I didn't have a plan for that. I just said, hopefully during the race, there's going to be, salt packets or something that I can consume salt, but I needed 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of salt per hour, and I had no idea. The only thing that I had idea of is the goos that I was consuming had, I think, 90 milligrams of sodium, which is, again, only a tenth of what I needed. minimally. So I still had no idea. During the race, I was offered a banana, I was offered water, I was offered some type of electrolyte drink, which I would assume has sodium, but I don't know. Again, I don't even know what it was. They just said it was electrolytes. And I was given chocolates. Threw them in my pocket, eating chocolates. So I really didn't have an idea on sodium. For water, my plan was my watch. I use an app for this water bottle, and the water bottle monitors by weight how much water I consume per day. So it gives, there's an app, it gives me a goal of how many ounces I need per day. So I can, it's either monitored by the water bottle or I can enter it manually through my watch. So my goal was every time I ran through a water station, consumed water, I was going to enter into my watch the amount that I thought I was consuming. And how I was going to judge that was the night before, I got a cup, filled it with water, and I put it in my mouth. And I was able to consume the whole cup with 2 mouthfuls of water. So half a cup and then a full cup. So every time I ran and picked up a cup, I threw it in my mouth, and based on how much water was in my mouth, I was able to kind of guess half a cup, how many times I drank it, a cup. So then as I'm running, I'm entering in my water into my watch. So I was able to consume approximately 96 ounces of water from the morning I woke up all the way through the race. So I was able to drink 32 ounces when I woke up, and then the rest was consumed during the race. So water-wise, I think I was perfect. I didn't have any issues. There was enough water stations. I sweat enough, consumed enough, and I think I only had to use the restroom. Did I use the restroom during the race? Yes, once. So I was sweating the majority of it, and I had to use the restroom once. So that's a pretty good, I think. So water was fine. Carbohydrates. For the marathon, I needed to consume 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. During the Ironman, it bumps up from 60 to 90. So I was able to consume the proper amount of carbohydrates through the race. I packed for 4 hours, thinking that we were going to finish in 5 or 5.5. We ended up finishing at 6.5, which is doesn't matter to me. We finished. It wasn't about the speed, but we had that goal, so I wasn't able to consume any type of carbohydrates towards the end of the race. But again, I had those handful of chocolates. So I wasn't low in energy. I think I consumed the right amount, even though I packed 2 less. But energy-wise, I was fine. I didn't have a problem consuming and running at the same time. So everything was good, except for the salt. I didn't know what I was consuming. So everything was good. Again, the flavors of the goo was good. I think everything worked out just fine. So that was like the big experiment that I wanted to do during this race. So I think all in all, it worked out just fine. And let's see, what else can we think about? So, my body. How did my body respond to the race? If you don't know, one of the big issues that I had post-race, first attempt of the marathon, was my swelling of my knee. I had huge swelling, where it lasted for, I think, 5 to 6 weeks. And there was only 7 weeks in between the race, 2 races. So by the last 2 weeks, my knee healed up, and which meant I didn't do any running because I didn't want to damage my knee. I wanted to make sure I get a full recovery. I've always had faith in my legs to get me through the tough times. I wasn't afraid that my legs weren't going to be able to handle it. My concern was the impact, right? Because I didn't do any type of training with impact because of the knee. So I knew that the impact of the running was going to be the killer. So at the end of the race, what really hurt me the most was my feet. I stuck with the same shoes that I had last time because I didn't run, so which means I didn't have any new shoes to break in because I wouldn't have broke them in by then. But I ran with the same shoes and with the same results. And the same results is the blistering of my feet. I had blisters last time and I had blisters this time. So by mile 10, 11, 12-ish, somewhere around there, my feet really started to hurt. So that was no good. What then started to happen was because the blisters on my right foot was worse than my left. I had blisters on my left, but I didn't feel it. I didn't even know I had blisters until I looked at them. I'm like, oh, no pain. But the right side. So because I started to feel pain on the right side, when I was running, instead of impacting the floor equally, what then starts to happen is you start to kind of gallop. And as you gallop, you're not putting all the weight on one side, which then means that the opposite hip, right? So if my right foot had all the issue, my left hip is going to get the majority of the galloping impact. So my left hip started to hurt, all because of just impact and the blisters. So although my legs were fine, the blisters were just killing me. So the marathon was a struggle, not cardio-wise, not muscular-wise, but impact-wise. So I had to address that, which I'll speak about that later. But the recovery was quick. Monday, I was in pain. Tuesday, I started getting better. By Wednesday, I was pretty much like 90%. And the good news is there was no swelling of the right knee. So that was a victory. So blisters aside, muscular-wise, my body's fine. Again, but the blisters, definitely something that I need to address. But that's all I learned, what I needed to learn. So that was great. I'm glad we did that. Now, with my feet, yesterday I went up to Runner's Mind and I wanted to make sure that they assessed my gait, my run, properly fit me. And I picked out a shoe specifically with a wide toe box. I've been saying shoe box in the past videos. My apologies, toe box with a wider toe box. So that way my feet, again, I have a wide foot. My feet are wide. So shoes really don't allow my feet to open up. So I'm always crunched. And because I'm crunched, right, usually the pinky toe goes under. Bad news. So now, yesterday, I looked at a lot of shoes and have chosen a new pair of shoes. So I got new shoes. We're definitely going to put that to the test immediately because, again, training camp just started and the program wants me, I think, running 3 to 4 times a week at times. So I'm going to be doing a lot of running. Anyway, I wanted to share my marathon experience. I wanted to share my personal experience with the marathon, with the experiments that I was doing. And last but not least, the problem that I had with the marathon, I immediately addressed it. And now I have a solution for it. So that shouldn't be, hopefully, not an issue for the next or upcoming runs that I'm going to do. So very good lessons to learn. And again, great thing to learn from. Now, midway point. I don't know what I'm going to do differently, but training camp is starting this week. Today, Monday. I already started my workout. This is not part of next week's workout, but this is part of last week's vlog. And it started today. I'll be doing 2 times a day training throughout the week, except for Mondays. Monday, it's only one training, which is swimming. But I'm definitely going to share my experiences with my programs that I'm doing. So I don't know, we'll see what the next series will have in store for us. But thank you for following along the first series, my journey to Ironman California. Originally, it was Alaska, but it got canceled. Now I'm going to California, Sacramento. So please, if you haven't seen the past videos, go back, watch them. Thank you very much for following along, and we will see you during the next series.